Chairman, I know from 30 years as a lawyer that when someone paraphrases remarks from somebody, I want to see the full Q&A. I want to see the full context. And I'm satisfied as a lawyer myself and the person who has to come here and defend these actions that what we have done is well within our existing legal authority. Whenever I assess a legal question, both as a lawyer for the Department of Defense and now as a Cabinet Secretary, and the viability of a legal issue. And I will say that as a lawyer myself, and as someone who's been a lawyer for a government agency, I'm fully comfortable with what's in here. We acted within existing law. We acted within our existing legal authority. Listen, I've been a lawyer 30 years. Somebody plays me an 8-word excerpt from a broader speech, I know to be suspicious.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. My name is Andrew Schwartz. I'm Senior Vice President for External Relations here, and get to stand in for John Hamre today, who's traveling. Just a couple housekeeping announcements. First of all, we have to do this. This is sort of our Smokey the Bear thing. If there is an emergency, we have blue jackets outside that'll direct you the way out. We don't expect there to be any emergency, but we just have to say that. So it will be very easy to spot where to go if there is. Second, I want to say, at the end of the program today, please stay in your seats until the Secretary can leave. But then, and this is a little bit unusual, please leave as soon as you can, because we happen to have another secretary visiting here today. It's the Secretary General of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who's following, and so thus we have a pretty high security event here, couple high security events in a row, and we do a lot of events at CSIS this year, as you know, but this is a bit of a juggling act today. With that, it is my pleasure to welcome my colleague, the very distinguished and honorable Sean O'Keefe. Sean is, of course, former Secretary of the Navy, former Director of NASA, and, being a Tulane graduate, I feel compelled to say former Chancellor of LSU, and he's actually wearing LSU colors today, so go Tigers. Sean's also here at CSIS as a senior advisor and with the Maxwell School. Some of my favorite people are in the front row here, General Scowcroft, Judge Webster, and Mr. Hand. So good to see you all. Thank you for being here. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Sean O'Keefe.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to moderate this particular session on such an important occasion. And while some of that may be in reference to this morning's event, which you'll hear a lot more about here from the Secretary in a minute, I think the other thing we need to reflect on a bit is we've just emerged from yet another uneventful national holiday this past weekend with absolutely no incident whatsoever. And yet the reason for that isn't accidental. It's a consequence of the diligence of extraordinary people, thousands of them on our behalf, who dedicate themselves to assuring that freedom to do the kinds of things we did this past weekend, celebrating the birth of this nation, and also to recognize the extraordinary opportunities that we have because of what they do. And they get virtually no recognition for those non-events. The gentleman who represents all of them here is a distinguished public servant who has spent a considerable period of his professional life in public service. Having started and certainly as being involved as a professional attorney, he has risen through a number of different positions as the General Counsel of the Air Force, as the Assistant U.S. Attorney of the Southern District of New York, as the General Counsel of the Defense Department prior to becoming the Secretary of Homeland Security. And he is the fourth to occupy that particular capacity. In each of these roles, he has distinguished himself as an exemplary public servant who has focused on the challenges of the kinds of jobs and issues that ultimately have been brought to a head in this capacity protecting all of us as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, the Honorable Jay Johnson.
Thank you very much, Sean. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. It's great to be back here at CSIS. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. I want to open my remarks by talking about today's events. Topic of this speech is cybersecurity. Related to cybersecurity, it appears that today we had system malfunctions at United, at the New York Stock Exchange, and the Wall Street Journal. I have spoken to the CEO of United, Jeff Smizek, myself. It appears, from what we know at this stage, that the malfunctions at United and the Stock Exchange were not the result of any nefarious actor. We know less about the Wall Street Journal at this point, except that their system is back